What's going on? What's going on?
Hey, what's up? What's up?
Hey, this your boy Sean.
It's your boy Troy.
Hey,
we back tapped
we
in.
back tapped in. So we appreciate you guys. As always, like, comment, share, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. If you're catching us here live, comment on the show. Let us know your thoughts, what your point of view is. If you agree, disagree,
we welcome it, please.
Hey, we welcome it. We want you to be a part of the conversation. So, as always, we appreciate you guys and your support, all the likes and shares and views that we've been getting a little bit of traction. So all of that's good. So we appreciate it. We appreciate y'all
absolutely.
Dearly. All right, man. So what's going on?
Before we start, man, I gotta send a shout out, man. I gotta send a special shout out, man, to my better half, man. Look, she received a huge award this week, man. Just for doing what she loved to do. Was it professional behavior specialist of the year? Yeah. So big up, man. Salute you, Queen.
Big up, Miss Bailey.
Yeah, salute you, Queen.
Hey, we salute you and appreciate all you're doing for kids in our communities, man.
That's it.
Raising up, help raise up young future leaders, helping them navigate through this world, giving them the tools and things they need to be successful. So we appreciate you.
Oh yeah,
appreciate you.
No doubt.
So man, there's a lot of basketball going on right now, man.
A whole lot of hooping, man. And I'm missing half of
it. You missing half of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now last week it was pretty good, man. This year's crop of NBA potentials, but NCAA players, the freshmen.
That's where it's at, huh?
It's one, to me, it seems like one of those 90. What was that? 98 with Carmelo and LeBron.
Okay, yeah.
Their draft.
Yeah.
This draft reminds me
of
that draft. It could be that deep. And it's mostly sophomore. I mean, not sophomore. It's mostly freshmen. And it's, some guys was on the radar. They knew it was good. Some guys not so much on the radar, but they've been showing out. So I'm pretty excited about it. I've been trying to. I thought about going last week to I think it's a Field of 32. They had them up in Philly.
Okay.
So I was thinking about going up there, but the last time I went, man, they didn't have it split into sessions.
Oh, okay.
Like you could go and you could be able to watch all 4 games. Right. Now they got it. You got the first section.
Select your game.
Yeah, first session was 2 games, and then second session was 2 games. And I was like, man, I don't know. I don't feel like going up there to do that.
Right. So you can get it all in one ball. That'd be a whole different
thing. Yeah. But I do got my eye on some tickets because they in for Sweet 16 they in DC.
Oh, okay.
So like tomorrow night I had to use my little AI chat GPT tell me, hey, what's the best time for me to look for these tickets? What's the game plan? Gave me a nice little game plan. I was like, okay, well, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start watching
with it. Huh?
Yeah, we're gonna start watching these tickets and see what happened. Because you figure we so close. I only need 2 hours to get there.
Oh yeah.
So you think if they have these bulk buyers buy all these tickets and
closer it get
to the game.
Right, they a little more antsy. They ready off.
Yeah, it's crazy because I did that one time at a Sixers game. I had got tickets for, I think it was just me and my son that went to that game, and we was up in the higher section, and like the game hadn't even started yet, and I was like, yo, man, it's not a lot of people down here. So I went on the app, man. I got tickets like right behind where they come in and out of the tunnel for $40.
Wow. Man, so, I salute you too, man. You know what? Because I got the exact same story, man. I mean, all the way up until the point of ordering the ticket. I say, man, you know what? Those seats been empty for a long time. And
so you just
went at the Sixers game. So I had my daughter with me too. So we go sit down in the seats. I'm talking about, man, it might have been third quarter. And then young man said, hey, Dad, they're in our seat.
You like,
but I had a seat I'd already paid for. Right. But Man, I got 3
Would you
quarters.
just scoot over? You couldn't just scoot over?
Nah, man. Little boy kind of called me out. I said, let me go on back to
Since the people
he
come
embarrassed
you.
Oh yeah,
Embarrassed
I want to
you.
make sure the people ain't come back. So can we check your ticket? But yeah,
That's
it was
crazy.
wide open.
Wow. I know I've done that. It wasn't the last couple of times, but back in the day when we used to go up to the games all the time. And because they weren't really that tight on security. Now they're a little bit more tighter. Like when you go into that lower level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me see your ticket.
Yeah, they all you back.
Yeah. Yeah, they on. But so we'll see how it plays out. And it actually ends up being his birthday this weekend.
Nice.
The 29th. So yeah, man, it's crazy. Have a 21-year-old and soon to be 19-year-old. But
wow, man.
But also got 6-year-old to keep me young, right?
Man, 2 ends of the spectrum. Why?
And then
man?
I got one in the middle. You got one that's great going to high school. So yeah, it's fun times, man. I enjoy it. Can't imagine things.
The years fly by, man. My baby girl be 21, man. A few more months. It's like, where did the time go?
Yeah. Well, that's what's up. So speaking of families, it starts with the matriarch of the family, and you always got to protect her.
That's it,
right?
No.
So you had sent me a video, man, where the guy that I guess it was outside of a store, somebody tried to grab the wife's purse, her and the assailant get into a scuffle, and the guy just standing on the sidelines, man.
Dude got
spectator sport.
He got stuck, man. Like, and the guy that was trying to grab a pocketbook, he actually was getting physical. He was getting physical, like, yo, back up. And he was stuck and he was looking. I said to myself, man, there's no way in the world, man. Like, yo, she shouldn't even get in a car with him to go home, man. It's
no pass.
No pass. Listen, if you're gonna get anybody that's with me, you gotta go through me first. Right. I don't, regardless of what that looked like.
Right.
Regardless of what that looked like, you gotta get to me first before you could touch anything I love.
But okay, so I'm gonna play God's advocate on this. What if you grew up in an environment where you never had you was privileged to not have to worry about those type of things happening? So you never really had to think about it. Do you get a pass?
Nah, you got to think about it then. You probably never did have to think about it, but it's real now.
Right.
And you got to do something, man. I don't care if you scratch, you bite. It might not
even
look
if you've
like
never been in a fight before.
Man, you don't watch the movie. You didn't. Come on, man.
You make up some stuff.
You better do something, man. Fake karate. You better try something. Like, come on, man. Throw something, man. Get in the car. Run them over. Do something, man. Like, bro, you cannot, man. You cannot not defend your woman, man.
Right.
So,
go ahead.
Okay. Now, I have seen situations. I'm not naming names, but when we was growing up, we had a couple, and the guy, he went hard. Like, that's what he did. He threw them things, but he linked up with a chick that I guess that what drew her to him. So she'll get in a basic altercation with someone like, yo, get him. And like, she was sicking him off.
like a dog.
Big jokers, yeah. Like,
okay.
Now so I might have fall back on some of them. Like,
right.
Yeah, but if it's unwarranted and you just
in harm's way. Yeah, I think, just as a husband, I saw another video which it was pretty accurate. When you out and I think it's more so, I think your background and what you had to grow up around really does play a part.
Yeah.
The things that you've experienced as you were a young adult or even as you were a kid, if you've had to defend yourself before, or, you've been around places where the energy was high, right? And you just alert, like when you grow up in that environment, you can almost be in a place and kind of sense it coming, right? And so we have this radar. When I say we, like me and you, when I go to any place, I'm looking.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking even to where I sit when I'm in a restaurant.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Because I want to see, I need to be able to see where all the major traffic is coming from.
Right.
I don't want my back.
Need to know how to get
I don't want my back to be, to the door. I want to be able to see who coming in, who coming out. I'm constantly scoping, even in an outdoor environment. You just you're looking for that energy. You're looking for, things that you might need to be avoiding. So that's to me, that's an instinct, but I learned that.
But that's true. That's so true. I'm not disagreeing,
Right.
but it's something about instinct, man. I mean, it's been times I done had strange pit bulls come in my yard. I'm not, I ain't never dealt. Well, I have dealt with them, but at the same time, not these somebody else's. But before you get my family getting out the car, I gotta instinctively just approach. 4:00 in the morning, you start hearing that your lights come on, you hear stuff outside. You can't send your girl to the door, man. I mean, you just got to be an instinct. I'm just as scared. I mean, I'm shaking too, but
so you ain't a believer in a fight or flight, because that's the real response. It's a fight or flight.
If it's you by yourself, get up out of there. But you can't get up out of there, man.
You can't leave your wife in there.
No, this is what I tell my wife, man. I tell her this all the time, and I pray to God nothing like this ever happens. But if we are in a situation like that, especially if you come, if you're in my house or something like that, let me handle the threat. But get up out of there. I don't need you in there. Oh, Troy, what's going on? I'm trying to help. Like, that's going to distract me even more.
Right.
Like, just
because now I'm thinking, I'm trying not to get hurt, and I'm trying to make sure you don't get hurt either.
Right.
Because the last thing I'm trying to have happen, if somebody got to walk up out of here, it need to be you. Right. I can, I can deal with the rest of it.
Right.
But if we get in an altercation and I'm the one that end up I don't know how I don't know how to process
you can even live with that.
Right.
That's why by all means you're going to protect your family. And I think all men, man, should just have that mindset. And it might not always end that way, but at least you gave it a try. He might have jumped in and got knocked out.
Hey, that's the time where you can take it, because even if you get knocked out,
I just can't say it.
Even if you get knocked out, you was trying.
You was trying. Yeah, you was trying.
You know what I mean?
Because
I didn't see the best
lack
of
of effort at all, though, man.
If you don't give any effort,
how's that conversation gonna go when they get home? Like,
you know how that conversation gonna go.
Man,
you can't say nothing no more.
Can't say nothing no more. You ain't say that when that man was on the. I mean,
trying to take my pocketbook from me. And when you sitting there all scared,
you done lost all your authority, man. Every single ounce of respect.
Yeah, I don't know how you bounce back from that, man.
Yeah, I wonder how the ladies feel about that, though. How would y'all respond in that situation? Like, what would the ride home look like?
I'll be honest with you, man. I don't know how. I don't know what that ride home would.
Yeah, what kind of please can you cop? You can't. Oh, baby, I was gonna do something, but
you know how women wives can be. They might not even say a word to you.
That's gonna cut even worse.
You driving, right? You driving, and you can feel it. You can feel it. You can feel the
burning a hole right through you,
waiting for you to say something. Not gonna let you cop out of it. Like, you know why I'm staring at you. You know exactly why I'm staring at you. So what you gotta say?
Man, I can't imagine that, boy.
I don't know.
Man, that's rough.
I don't know. You know what I mean? But this is just for the fellas. And if you're in that situation, you at least gotta pinch you, man. Something.
Yeah, you got a pinch your man.
Something. You gotta do something. You gotta do something, man.
That's wild, man.
But man, you know what? That leads me to another thing that we had shared was the presence of a father, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in that instance, your presence there should give your wife some type of security, right? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where we're speaking at, where we're saying, okay, she expects if something like that happens, that even if it's a couple people and I can't get everybody, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure she is safe and can get out of there. Yeah. And, so in this scenario, the young girl would ask the question, what did your father ever do for you?
Mm-hmm.
Do for you? And she was like, I don't know. And this was a present father that was in the house, right?
Right.
And she was like, he wasn't as verbal. He didn't give her as much, I guess, game,
Mm-hmm.
like verbal or thought process stuff, but he was there to provide or whatever. So the
Mm-hmm.
guy was asking a question. He was like, well, he said, if you ever thought if something happened to you, you thought your dad would be there? She was like, yeah. Like, almost like, what do you mean? Why you asking that question? And then he was like, went on to say, so you always felt like you was protected. Right. She was like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And he was like, do you realize that there's some women that grow up with a father who's not present and they don't have that same sense of being protected?
Yeah, that changed her whole everything.
It changed her whole everything. But even went even farther to say, you don't know the things that by him just having a presence in your life and being there with you, you don't know the things that protected you from, because the access to you wasn't as easy, because there's a man here that you got to go through to get to.
He diverted a lot of jokers coming with game, or if they know you got a present father in the home, they're not just going to walk up. We used to live in communities where you can walk up to somebody's house or you can be in front of that. They're not going to do that when her dad home.
Right.
He's never had to say a word, but them knowing that he's there. That's the advantage of having a father present. You know what I mean?
Right. And even in the case where a guy is respectable, if he was going to go over to a house and he knew it was just a mom there, he can try to almost sweet talk the mom too. Kind of run game on the mom, kind of pacify her, or I'm not gonna say pacify her, but get on her good side so that he can get a little bit more access than what she really want to give. But in that same instance, if there's a father in the house, you can't sweet talk him.
And they call it, a dad's gonna call it out the way they said. I mean, I grew up with sisters, and I have that plenty of times. Guys come over, they talking, mom, he, ha, oh, he's such a nice guy. My dad listening to him, and that night he said, nah, this joker, man, he ain't right, this, that, and the third.
Right.
Pretty much read him from the conversation that he didn't even get involved in. He just listening and watching how he move and said, nah. You know what I mean?
Nah, this ain't.
Yeah. Mom, dude, mom, she open arms, welcome everybody in.
Right.
Mom's going to let you hang yourself. Dad's going to see it before time.
Yeah, they ain't even going.
He ain't hitting on nothing.
He ain't on nothing. He cutting it off. You know what I mean? Before the rope come out.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? Not even going to give you a chance. Go ahead.
I was going to say, even with that though, even on a different level, when I was growing up, my dad, he used to work really late nights on one of his shifts. And he probably wouldn't get home till about maybe 1, 2 in the morning sometimes for the shift that he was working. And my brother and I, we shared, a room, but we were young, and where we was at, it was like not the best of areas.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going to bed 9, 10 o'clock, doing school nights. Now I'm really young here, but I know I couldn't sleep and didn't feel 100% comfortable until I heard my dad key hit the door. And when his key hit that door, now I can go ahead and knock up. But I was on edge, the whole time, because he wasn't there.
Who's gonna step up if somebody come in here?
This coming from a male child.
Right.
So I know it has to mean something for,
Yeah. And I mean, do you think that translates into confidence for her? Like, do you think that, having a father that is there, that is around, that is present, do you think that just automatically gives and obviously we can't say because we're not women, we are fathers though. Would you say that it gives them a little bit more confidence just moving around, knowing that they got a protector, knowing that they got a man in their life that only wants the best for them and to love and to support.
Or you got
them.
that person that you can call just like on the drop of a dime. Yeah.
Right.
It's always, I think it's always a sense of security of knowing you have that, you know what I mean?
Right.
Some people got to search around. Like something come up, they got to call, search around, call somebody else. Say, hey, can you ask your husband? Can you ask this guy?
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that you have your father that always pick up the phone and can help you figure some things out. Yeah, I'm sure it's a huge sense of security in that.
Yeah, and that is one subject that I really would, like to get a little bit more information, like from a woman's perspective, who's, one that has that, and then maybe one that hasn't, because
Right.
I think, we can sit here and we can, hypothesize all we want to,
Right.
what I mean? But I do know that from some of the people that I know, it's because I say confidence, but there's just I don't know if it's confidence or what I'm seeing is they feel more secure in themselves and who they are. And I think a lot of times fathers don't give themselves enough credit because there's sometimes things that they may not be able to do. They might not be able to provide all the things that that they want, or be able to do the things that they want at the time that they want to do it. But just your presence and being there, being engaged, caring about what they care about, like that's really the important thing.
And affirming her, what I mean, just giving her those positive affirmations. Watched a movie on that not too long ago, and the guy, man, he could not get right, man. I mean, he kept spending time incarcerated and things, and the little girl never gave up on him. And man, just him calling her. I mean, their lives was falling apart. Rent due, getting evicted, mom losing the car, and he couldn't pull it together. But every night when he called his daughter, she didn't see none of that. All she wanted to hear her dad's voice, and he said, call her, his little angel, whatnot. And man, she smiled like none of the other problems existed.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's powerful. Just him showing up, like, to make that call.
Make the call. Yeah. And that translates to even now, like even with my oldest daughter, if she, have a test or something like that, and it doesn't go the way that she wants it to go, because we all have tests sometimes and they don't go the way we want them to go. It's just, I think it's important for me to let her know that doesn't define how smart you are as a person and your value as a person. And, I think, and I know her mom does the same thing, but it also, in doing that, because I know you do the same thing too, it also shapes what they look for and what they're attracted to. Right. Because if and during those times when they might be doubting themselves or might feel insecure, and you're the one who is there to reaffirm, who they are, how valuable they are, how smart they are, how loved they are. It's like that puts the battery in their pack to be able to
shake it off
and keep going.
I like what the last comment that was just made on the page, man. About, I can't see you too good.
It says not the one about not having a father figure will make a woman either super soft, gullible, or make her very hard, masculine. Almost her own protector.
Yeah, and that hard and masculine thing. So a lot of times you see women not
for that comment.
You see a lot of women not being able to operate in there, what they call that soft girl era. But that's something that was embedded in them from having to be their own protector and have to maybe protect their younger siblings and things like that. So they was forced into a role
that they really weren't
supposed to play. And now it's hard to come out of that, even as an adult or even as someone in a relationship.
Right.
Because you hear that a lot,
You do. And that's interesting because as a man, when you do encounter a woman like that, so let's just say you dating, I think that's why it's even more important to really have those hard and tough conversations, and be open to the things that shape their lives. Because a lot of times, not even a lot of times, I say 90% of the times, the things that people struggle with the most as adults are the things that probably happen in like the first 10 years of their life.
Oh yeah, it started in their childhood. Yeah.
It started in their childhood, and they are study trying to make decisions and affirmations to not be or feel that way that they did when they were an adolescent.
Right. Or try to unfeel it, try to do some things that just unravel it, but you never can go back to that point.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's important to be able to just have the tools to be able to navigate through that. But I think as adults, we have to realize that, hey, there is some subsurface stuff that maybe we don't talk about that we should talk about. And it's crazy because you don't know what those things are. And like in this day and age, you know, you can go to therapy or you can go to counseling, like marriage counseling and stuff like that. But one of the things that was most interesting to me was those card games that came out where they like date night cards,
right?
Where it's like hard questions, and you know, you take these cards with you and you ask each other these questions, and obviously, you know, your only job is to be open and honest, you know, in your answer. But it allows for you to be able to find out things that you should probably know or should probably talk about. That when you're in the midst of being in love and with somebody, you trying to stay on that course,
right?
Not trying to do anything to upend it, but also you want to be if you trying to make a step to that next level, you want to know as much as you can, you know, be as well informed about this person as possible, faults and things that they're great at.
But how much would that affect how far you take the relationship? Because a lot of people aren't going to be honest, because some people say, you know, oh, I'm not going to judge you for your past. But then you got other people who say, oh, nah, you tell somebody, hey, I used to have an issue with this, that, and the third. Some people can say, okay, I keep my eyes out for it, but we can still move forward because you're not there. Yeah. But a lot of people will put you right back.
Yeah. And I think, you know, you have to know what relationship you're in, you know, and the person that you're dealing with, and where you want to go and what you want, you know, because you may know everything that you think you need to know in order to go to that next step. And then that next step, which, you know, would be marriage, you know, is where maybe they begin to open up a little bit more about some things, because now y'all married, y'all in it together.
Unless Jenny used to be Jim, man, you stuck.
And hopefully you know that before.
Man, that'd be crazy to find out.
Yeah.
But once you tie the knot, though, hey, you in it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. That's, you know what I mean? That's how it's supposed to be looked at. You know, like, hey, we're doing this, we're in it for the long haul. You know, but, you know, it's just like individuals. I mean, there's no right or way, you know, to go about it. But I think the more that you have the tough conversations earlier, the better it is down the road.
I don't know why we're going here, man, but I talked to a guy the other night, man, and he was saying he's single. You know, man, he's getting up there probably around my age, about around 50. He probably around 50 years old. Anyway, he's dating, and he come on, I sound great father almost. But he's dating.
I could help that one.
He's dating, and he found someone that he really thinks he's interested in. They've been going for some time. He didn't give me a timeline, but some time. But he was like, man, yo, at our age, she still want me to say boyfriend or girlfriend or put a title on it. And he's like, man, you know what? If I'm giving you my time, if we making plans and all that, it is what it is. He's like, he think it's juvenile to be, you know, to put them titles and things like that on. I was like, I don't know. I've been married so long. I don't know how that go, but is it an age limit to being boyfriend and girlfriend, or?
I mean, I think when you get older, again, we both not in that scenario, but like if I was there, I couldn't imagine being that age and being in a serious relationship with somebody, and we just gonna stay at this place. I mean, at some point in time, you got to make adult decisions, do adult things, right? And it's just a commitment. I mean,
either verbal commitment, just saying we locked in.
Nah, I think as you get older, I think when you're young, you marry for love.
No, I'm talking about the in between, though. I'm not talking about the marriage. I'm talking about that dating portion of it in there. Is it a title on it nowadays? Like, are you exclusive? Like, oh, do we go together, or is that juvenile to even put those titles
I've heard
on it?
Professional spaces where people are reference to their significant significant other as their partner.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, this is that can get a little, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Because most time when I hear that,
right.
But yeah,
right. Yeah, that can be. But I think there's got to be some kind of commitment. There's got to be some kind of commitment that's been established. And if you commit it, it's like, okay, yeah, we do go together. We are
okay. So we still go together. You go, okay.
Yeah, like so. If it's not that, then what we doing?
Right.
Or we exclusive.
Yeah, but it has to be a conversation. We have to lock it in.
Yeah, we got to be locked in. It's exclusive. Like I'm locked in with you right now. There's no other outside influence.
Leaving it open like that's an escape route.
It is. Okay. It is. Because I mean, then you can keep it player and be like, well, you know what I mean, we never really committed.
Yeah.
Like,
but bro, the way he was saying it, like, yo, pretty much she got me. Like, and he had the front in front of me. Like he said, yo, I'm with her. Like
so
I make plans around her.
Just say, hey, we're exclusive.
But that's irritating him. He's like, man, yo.
He might not just like the word, you know, but
you find a way, whatever terminology you use, you gotta let it know what it is.
To be able to verbalize, it's just me and you.
You're right. Because then you know how far to go in a relationship, how much to give of yourself. I mean, it makes sense to me.
It is. I mean, if you want somebody to commit to you, why not commit to them?
Thanks.
You know, you might not be committed. Now, that takes me to not even something that we had on the board.
Mm-hmm.
I think I shared it with you earlier on today. And the woman was like, this is for my brothers. And she wanted to know, what is it that, I don't know if she said married men, but committed men in a relationship, what do they do to not be tempted by other women?
I'm gonna answer that question, man. I'm gonna answer it, man, against my better judgment, man. But
tell a woman what they want to do.
You don't do anything, man. You gotta be above temptation, but you don't do anything. It's just like saying, I'm on a diet and I'm refraining from eating so much. If that commercial come on TV, when that burger that you used to grub, you still gonna be tempted, or you gonna look at it and say, but you know, look, this is not good for me at all. This is not my, It's not what I'm supposed to be doing and partaking in. And you use some self-control, but it's not too much you can do to avoid the temptation.
Yeah. I mean, because that's what temptation is. It's there, and it's just like, you got to have in your mind and your moral compass and who you are. Like, that's just something I'm not going to do.
Right.
You know, and I'm not going to indulge in it. I'm not going to entertain it, because like, I think a lot of times what happens is, I think sometimes you might want to try to be too friendly in a situation when you really shouldn't be, right? Like, you locked in with this, you not locked in, you married to this person here. This is the person that you chose to be with. And so somebody new presenting themselves, and you can pick up the vibes. You know what that high mean, or that question that's asked in the line or something like that.
Extra. Yeah,
little extra. And it's just like, you answer it with as least amount of words as possible. And you don't even make it seem like you know what I mean? You let it be known that you're not available. You don't even have to say you're not available. It's, I think, the energy that you give off.
Oh yeah.
It kind of cuts it. It cuts it off. It cuts it off. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's not nothing a woman per se can do to make you feel or make you act that way. That has to be something that's made up in your own mind.
Certainly. But we talked about it a little bit last week. And I think we're getting back on this along the same lines, but sometimes changing your circle though. Like, if you have unmarried friends, I mean, they hunting.
Right.
You know they're going hunting. You don't jump in the vehicle with them. They go hunting. Like, come on. Like, it's some stuff just common sense. And then you have to limit the things you watch and the things you look at. Because, I mean, we believe in spirits and things, you know what I mean, that can attach themselves to you. And if you constantly put yourself in those areas,
you're going to get tempted.
Yeah. They say you sit at a barbershop long enough, you're going to get a cut, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So it's really about protecting what you value.
No doubt.
That's
That's back to protecting again, man.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah, shut it down, man. He ha ha, all that. Nah, man. Like,
and
yeah,
you know if you said too much, if you said, if you said not enough, it's just either you tasted it or you didn't.
that's it.
Right?
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. So hopefully, hopefully they'll find that clip, out in the algorithm somewhere, and that'll answer a question for.
So, man, yeah, this is good, man. I really wanted to talk about this, man. So, I was watching this video, and I seen they was clowning these young guys, man. Probably want to say preteen, might have been 11, 12, 13. They call them the YNs, whatever age they was at. And they said the YNs then joined ballet class, and they had them showing them, doing ballet or whatnot. And I had to take a step back because at first I had a negative thought. I'm like, yo, these cats. And then I said, you know what? And I'm gonna ask you this question. Like, I say, man, that maybe that's stunting their growth. If if this if one of them was my niece or my nephew or something like that, and that's really what he showed interest in. My very first thought would have been like, boy, why you want to do that?
Right.
So do you think that the lack of open-mindedness in our culture and community can destroy dreams?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it comes from a place of insecurity, being insecure, because there's certain things that you might see, but then there's other things that are just natural interests that they might have.
Right.
So it could be ballet, it could be them wanting to do hair. My mom was a cosmetologist. I grew up watching her do hair. I ended up cutting hair. And honestly, I don't know where that it developed at, but it was like, nah, I don't want to do hair. That's what women do. You know what I mean? Like that.
Right.
I don't know how that thought got in my mind.
You could have been one of the greats, man.
I could have been. But, I think that sometimes gets in the way. And honestly, I think in most cases, it's probably the men around that are influencing that due to their lack of security, or even the thought that what they're doing is a reflection of them.
Right. But on the flip side, so we love entertainment, man. We go out, we go to plays, we go to musicals and things like that. Well, a lot of those musicals, they have like scenes where they're doing the ballet dancing, and you have the guys up there. Some of them guys, they in shape, they muscular, they throwing people up. They had to start somewhere.
Right.
So that was some young person's dream that was able to breathe, where it would have got stifled in certain spots because of, like you said, our own insecurities or what we perceive as tough. Your neighbor come home and say, hey, yeah, my son, man, he made the Pee-wee team. And you're like, oh yeah, my son doing ballet. See, we
again, that's our insecurity.
That's our insecurity.
Because like our job is to, help them navigate through that, but also parent.
Yeah.
Right. So there's other conversations that need to be had around that.
Yeah.
Decision.
Why do you love the footwork? Do you love because if you talk to them and pull it out, I'm going to understand why they're interested. Some mom will say, hey, that's where the honey's at. That's what you're going to respect it. Like,
right. And you never know. You never know how that's going to go. But I think that is very hard for most men to do. Right. Because it like I said, it comes from a place of them being insecure about something.
Yeah.
And and then feeling like it's a reflection of them, or it's something that they did. But it's like that has nothing to do with what dream this child has.
Because we all individual, all our own individual person, and God gifts us with our own individual talent.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
If this thing of a young man wanted to pick up a needle and start to sew and all that, and in the younger years, you don't respect that craft. But then when you get older, you get into fashion and all that, and you realize Virgil, you know what I mean? Now he's one of the top designers, this, that, and the third. Like, we had to start somewhere. So
and like the fedora hats. I mean, if you look on Instagram, it's mostly guys that's making those hats.
Making them. You got to know how to. Yeah,
you gotta be able to know how to put it together.
Some of them got knit, some of them do all that. I mean, they're crafts. But I think when you put attached genders to those crafts,
it can confuse.
It can
because it's the same way what you said about the ballet. It could be the guy that want to do hair. Like, he might just want, you know what I mean, be around women.
Zohan. Was it?
I mean, he be Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to get my hair done. Yeah, I mean, as a man, it's like, oh, okay, girl, good. You know what I mean, go get your hair done.
Send him right to the wolf.
Good. Yeah. Wolf in sheep clothing, boy.
Yeah. But the things that we don't understand, man, we always, you know, sometimes just like you said, it's been having a closed mind.
Mm-hmm.
We do have to open our minds up, especially now, man, when there's so much opportunity and people have access to information. So if it piques your interest and you get the information and you run with it, it's like, okay, we would have shut it down back in the day because I didn't even know who to go talk to about a ballet class.
Right.
Now, it might have been something they stole on or anything.
Man, you know what's crazy? As I just now thought about it, when my daughter was doing ballet, it was a guy whose son was taking ballet with him. And sometime the mom would be in there, sometime the dad would be in there. You know, taking them to the ballet classes. And so, you know, again, you know, it's hard. And I think for any man that's in that situation, I think that's the time where you really talk to some really strong people that's around you, you know, to be able to get guidance on how to have this conversation and how to navigate through that and how to be supportive.
Only if it presents itself as a problem, because that same kid could be in the backyard dunking on jokers or always, you know, wrestling with it. If you're saying those type of things and you know the kid, I don't think it's a
big, no, you're right.
It might not even be an issue.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think if other things are
attached to it,
it will raise some concern.
Right.
You know, but hey, I mean, it might just be a interest, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, and there's no right way to, you know, to have a conversation, you know, as far as that goes. It's like, you got to realize you got to be a parent. You know, we talked about it last week of, you don't get a second chance sometimes to make a decision. You got to make the best decision that you can with the tools and the information that you got. And you have to, you know, trust in that you're guiding this person, because even though they are kids, you know, they are people. They're individual people.
Exactly.
You know, with their own thoughts, their own dreams, their own desires. And, you know, we've got to be careful with the way that we interact with that, you know, and parent, you know, because there's a difference between being a parent and a friend. Sometimes those parent conversations aren't, you know, they aren't warm and fuzzy. You know, they can be direct. They can be, they can be more protective and guiding, but also being done in love, you know, to where, hey, I'm not mad, you know what I mean? I'm not mad, but this is what I see. And this is, we're gonna do this because of this, or no, we're not gonna do this because these are the things that I'm seeing right now. And my job is to guide and protect you.
Exactly. Yep.
It's that same, it's no different than the conversation that happened in the barbershop where they were saying the things about your sons, and he was like, no, you know, they not gonna be that,
right?
You know, and you could have very well been like, yo, that sound dope, that sound cool. Yeah, they probably are gonna be like, it's like, no, we're not doing that.
That's right,
because that's your instinct as a parent. Yeah, it's to protect, right?
That's it.
Because if you don't do it at that point in time, who knows what they end up being.
Right. Yeah, and this last thing I'm gonna say, man, we definitely can move on. But those young guys I was looking at, and the reason I stepped back, I said, okay, in that, I'm sure in that class they're getting some structure, I'm sure, you know what I mean?
Some discipline.
Some discipline and some things that if left to their own devices on the streets, depending on where they're from, especially if they're from like an inner city or something like that, that same lack of guidance or lack of structure, lack of discipline can, you know, derail their whole life. At least they're into something that they're getting some structure. You got some adults looking after you and you're learning something.
Right.
So sometimes we got to be able to look at the whole picture.
Yeah, I agree. But there's, you know, but I'll say that with a caveat of protection and parenting.
Yeah.
Right.
No doubt.
Right. So man, you know, we were talking about it before we came on live, you know, and you were saying how, you know, when you was, you know, active selling real estate, you know, obviously we 100% commission. And, you know, when you get that contract written, you know what that settlement date is. And you start spending that money.
Yeah. Before that check, this is coming in.
Yeah, this is coming in. But not knowing that between the time you write that contract to the time you get the settlement table, there's a lot of things that could happen that could cause that thing to get derailed. And you know, we've seen a lot of those things. So, you know, what I wanted to talk about was things not to do before you go to closing.
Man, talk about it, please. Man. Listen, boy, I left me hurting a few times. You know what? I think one of the best pieces of information you guys gave me said, look, don't count your money, man, before you got it in this business. And you know what? From that time on, I stopped counting because, man, I had a few deals that didn't go through because the buyer, man, probably did some of these things you're about to talk about.
Yeah. So like the biggest thing, and people don't mean to do it, is they're buying a house and for whatever reason, everybody that buys the first house wants to get new furniture.
Oh yeah.
And you know, you ride by these places, don't have to make a payment until 2026 until 2030. Come in here if you get approved, no payments till 2030.
Oh yeah.
As soon as they run that credit, you jammed up.
But I think they do it because a lot of people work to build that crap. So I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just trying to think of why they do it, because you should ask why before you started. I think because you work so hard to build your credit, I just got approved for a house. So now I can get approved for anything.
Right.
That's that mindset. So I'm about to start.
Yep.
But you're doing it too soon.
You're doing it too soon. And even though you're not making a payment, they still have to count that debt against your income. And that's what usually throws it out, is the debt to income ratio. Then also, you don't have to make a payment. You don't have any interest that you'll pay over the course of, let's say, that 3 years. But they still have to count what your payment would be if you had to make that payment. You know, so even though there's no payment being made, they still have to say, okay, well, when they do start making this payment, if they don't pay it off in these 3 years, because we don't know if they are or they're not, they're going to be responsible for, let's just say it's this extra $300 a month. Right. Well, that extra $300 a month, you no longer qualify for the house that you got under contract. Man. Right. And then that same thing happens with cars. You know, people get qualified for a house and like, oh, well, you know what I mean? And it always is the car broke down, or, you know, the fix was too expensive. Or, you know, they gave me, you know, 0% for, you know, for the life of the loan because the car was new. And it's like, okay, well, now you got how many $100 car or truck payment that now we got to count against you and you can't purchase it. So like, those are the two biggest things that I've seen people do that cause them not to be able to go through with a transaction.
Let me ask you this. Even if you could afford a payment, let's say if the payment fit in your budget, but you had a minimum credit score you had to, you know, maintain. Them inquiries, sometimes I know we're going to buy a car, sometimes they'll shop your credit score, and they kind of throw it through all type of different lenders.
Yeah. And that causes your score to go down. Right. Because usually when you go to a car dealership, they don't run your credit one time.
Right.
they run it multiple times. They run it through different. They run it through different finance companies. So you might go in there. Now, granted, with cars and buying houses, even though they run it through multiple,
They look at it as one.
They look at it as one inquiry. But that one inquiry,
up to so many though.
Yeah, it's up to 14.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But if you're buying a house and then you get an inquiry for a car, that might affect your score more than what you think, because you've just had these inquiries for a house and now you're doing this for a car.
Right. So that's two different.
So it's two different type of loans that you're looking at. And so that might really negatively impact you. So if you in a program where you have to have a 680 credit score and you're at a 690, and now you got this inquiry for a car and it drops you 20 points.
Yeah.
You know, now you can't.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
A couple months out again where you gotta.
Yep.
Man.
Yep.
That's good stuff, man. Real good stuff.
While I was talking, there was one other thing. It was a good one too. Credit. Oh, jobs. People will get qualified, be on a job for 10 years. And most times, if you a W-2 employee, you have to be on your job for 2 years, right? And somehow, after they get qualified and they go into closing, they accept another job, doing something totally different.
Yeah, so
they're making more money. They're making more money at the new job, but it's not what they were doing before.
Man.
And now you got to get another 2 years doing that same job. Wow. So switching jobs after you got under contract and been qualified for a loan, that's another thing. Or losing your job.
Oh, yeah.
After you get qualified. Because the last thing, the day of closing, if you close at, I'm going to say 10 o'clock, 9 or 10 o'clock, they're going to pull your credit either like 4 or 5 that night before, or they might verify your income one more time, look at your credit one more time before they send the closing documents over at 9 o'clock. And if anything has changed,
that's it.
That's it.
Man,
you're done.
And that's hard on the buyer and the realtor.
Yeah, both realtors.
Yeah,
and the seller.
Oh man,
that is never an easy conversation, because what the other thing that most people don't realize is that is the most emotional buy you're ever going to make.
Oh yeah.
Right. Because the process is so long. Like with a car, you go in there, oh, you qualify, here's your payments. It's like, okay, you done that day.
Yeah.
Right. And unless you want them to clean the car up a little bit more, you taking it off the lot that night. But with a house, it's like you got approved, right? So you got approved. Then it's gonna take you a couple weeks to find the house. Then you get under contract. Now it's 45 days, 30 to 45 days from that date before you can go to closing. And then you got inspections and things that's got to happen. And then you got to negotiate that stuff out. And so like you're jumping through all of these hoops, and then the lender is asking for all this paperwork,
2 or 3
information.
times.
Yeah. 2 or 3 times. And so they're asking for all of this stuff. And so you're emotionally vested in it.
Oh yeah.
At each step of the way, and you're getting pulled for multiple things. And at the end, it's just like you just want it to be done and over with. My job is to guide you through it so you don't feel those stressors, to let you know, hey, you're not the only one that has to do all of these things. Everybody else has to do that. And like that's the biggest part of, I really feel like is the key thing in what I do in a real estate transaction is to manage the expectation of the buyer and the seller, and also help them emotionally navigate through the process. No. And there's nothing worse than getting that call a day before closing or the day of closing that we can't close because of XYZ.
Wow. Having to deliver that message, man. Woo, I know that's a hard one too.
Yeah. And it's usually that delivering that message is harder to the seller.
Yeah, because they're ready to go. And it's nothing they did.
Because you think about it, they could have been packed up, moved, or packed up stuff in the trailer.
Yeah, and they didn't count that money. Like we talked about earlier, you know, spent that money. I'm gonna be there today at 10:30, and
right, yeah. So
let's not avoid all of
let's
those
avoid
things,
all of that. Don't make any purchases. Don't apply for no credit card, no nothing.
That's it.
Right. Anything that requires your social security number other than your homeowner's insurance, you don't
fall
do.
Back.
Yeah, fall back.
Good information, man. Great information.
Yeah. So as always, man, we like y'all tuning in, tapping in with us. Like, comment, share. We appreciate y'all comments and y'all chiming in on the conversation. And as always, go follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, iHeartRadio, Apple, iPad, iTunes, and Spotify. Yeah. So again, we appreciate y'all. Again, like, comment, share, and we'll see you next week. As always, say
tapped in.
Peace.